Hello, my name is Asad Masood, and I'm going to be presenting a deep dive analysis on the violent crimes in America. This data was gathered through the FBI's websites on their public access websites, where you can see all the data um, available. First, we have to define a few parameters, like what constitutes violent crimes in America. There are four categories of violent crimes in America. One is rape. The next is murder and non-negligent manslaughter. The next category is robbery, and then the last category is aggravated assault. And in this video, we're gonna see that overall, over the years from 1997 to currently, there's been a steady decline in the number of crimes. So for the first chart here in figure 1, we see the violent crimes through the year from 1997 all the way to 2017, and we see Tableau's forecasting over here. You can see over time that the amount of instances has dramatically decreased from 1997 having about 1.6 million instances of violent crimes, and all the way to 2016 of 1.2 million. Tableau's forecasted model states that in 2020 we're going to have about 1 million instances of violent crimes, which can, potentially happen. But it would depend on if all the categories would be dropping significantly together. And I'll show you after I do the other analysis. One thing that we do want to see is that we want to see how the violent crimes compare against each other, whether if more violent, depending on the violent crime, do more violent crimes increase in linear fashion to another, or whether does the population also increase when as the population increases, the violent crimes increase. That's what I thought initially, but the data actually shows how with population levels, even though we're having increases in population, we're seeing decreasing levels of violent crimes. However, as from this scatter plots, it shows that as more violent crimes occur, the other category of violent crimes will also increase. Just to also show you on the population scale that we had about 267 million people in 1997, and now we have about 325 million, but the actual number of violent crimes has been decreasing. So population is not the problem. It's more probably laws and regulation than the upholding of rights and civil liberties. So I'm right here just going to compare the most and least prevalent of the violent crimes. So the most prevalent violent crime is robbery, with about in 1997 having about 500,000 instances roughly, and it's decreased all the way to in 2016 to 330,000 instances, which is a pretty low amount compared to a decade ago. And Tableau forecasted that to having about 288,000 instances, so it's still a steady decline. And the same thing with murder and non-negligent manslaughter. There's also a steady decline. Interesting enough, though, if you go to the last two categories, which comes into rape and aggravated assault also has a forecast of a downward trend. However, rape shows a stagnation trend, which is interesting. I thought because out of the four categories, rape was the only one that actually flatlined. The other categories were declining. So this may be indicative of the society we live in as being a very hypersexual society, and people being exposed to pornography at earlier ages and violence at earlier ages, and hence rape is a prevalent thing. And this is probably something that, with this forecasting model, shows that the American government should probably be tackling this issue as well, because we see the trend right now. All the other violent crimes are declining, but rape is still holding strong, and we need to take action. These were the references that I had for which were from the FBI's website, and it contains all the data that you could see that I analyzed. Thank you very much, and goodbye.